Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Poison Okami here. Me, myself, and I back at it again with another tutorial for you about dash cancelling. So I feel like dash cancelling is a very important thing to do in Storm, and especially for your approach. Now, dash cancelling can be used in many different ways for many different reasons. However, I'm going to be using it in the forms of an approach and the effect it has on the battle. So I feel like dash cancelling isn't something I talked about much, but literally dash cancelling is just doing a chuckle dash and then cancelling with R2, like such. So how is this good for approach? Well, I'm going to demonstrate to you now a couple of reasons as to why it's good for approach, and it's good for a good, safe, aggressive approach. So for you aggressive players out there that like to be aggressive and everything, it's good for that. So often we are blocking a lot in the neutral game. As you can see, my opponent here is guarding, and we do like to block a lot because it is a very safe thing to do, obviously. However, we do this because this is a good approach. Now, if you bounce off of the block like this, that's what happens when you dash into it, right? You bounce off. This isn't good, because when you start mashing, you whiff the first hit, or you whiff the first few hits. No matter how you try to get around it, as you can see, it doesn't really work. As you can see, Pain still had to whiff the first hit there, meaning that second Tsuchikage could have ninja moved away if he wanted to. So we get around this by cancelling the dash. And then that way, you can start your pressure here and do what you wish to block. So one approach is literally just by doing a chakra dash, stopping in front of the block or whatever, and then doing it like that. Now, obviously, this is something you have to practice quite a lot in your online matches because getting the timing right to stop in front of the block is quite hard, but you'll be surprised by how much this does work in actual matches. Obviously, you can see my timing isn't perfect at it. I'm used to doing it with charge chakra dashes because I charge chakra dash a lot, so doing it like that because you get a good feel for the dash. That's why I do it so accurately. Regular chakra dashes, as you can see, I'm a little sloppy with it, so that's something that I should probably be practicing, but this is a very good approach. And then once you've got that down, you want to start implementing it with your switch tech. Now, I say to always run with your jutsus, but I never actually properly explained how or why you should run with your jutsus. Well, you should do it like this. Something like that. Now, obviously, that was a very bad example. But by doing it like this, that way you can do guard pressure. Now, obviously, there isn't a good example of how guard pressure is done because for some reason, the guard colors don't move down. Even though I'm doing this guide in Evo, this also does work in the base game, so if you're playing base Storm, this is a universal thing that applies across all iterations of Storm. Also doing it with your dashes as well, so when you're double dashing, it is very good for that. Now, the reason why this works, and I'll explain it very in-depth so you actually get like a good understanding of the logic behind it, there's this thing called block stun. Block stun is basically stun that happens where the opponent can't move when they're blocking. And basically it happens for as long as like the blue color is on the screen. And not only that, but basically like as long as like you can kind of see like the character shaking, like the Tsuchikage is kind of shaking a little bit, like he's got his own little like flinching animations or whatever within the blocking. It's kind of hard to tell, but basically that is a good indicator that they can't move. As long as like they're still being affected, like the animation's being affected by whatever you're hitting them with, that is how you know they can't move. So, by doing this, as long as they're still in block stun, that's how you know. Now, I'm going to make a video on block stun in the future, and it'll probably be like a little relation video to this. But yeah, that will explain a lot more of this guide, but that's a whole separate video. But yes, examples of it are dashing with your jutsus. That was a bad example there. Dashing with your dashes, like so. So jutsu. There we go, very good one there. And then dashing with your dashes. It's harder to do it with Itachi because he's got such short range. Very good and safe approach. And the reason why we're doing this is because it's safe aggression. It's aggression that cannot counter you very well. If you're dashing and they try to counter, well, the first person is going to hit them and leaving you stunned for it. I guess another way to test the chakra dashing version is to see if they are still stunned. And by doing this, you do when damaged. So that was a good one for me there. And how to know if you failed is that they will literally guard after the first chakra dash, like that. And it'll block the second one. There we go. There is another good one there. So if you want to practice it, that is a good way. It's just to turn it on to block when damaged, and then that's how you can practice. Now, this doesn't work for jutsus, obviously, because well, they're just going to get hit by the jutsu. So that's the other way to practice the double chakra dash one. And then another prime example of this as well is when they're waking up from being knocked down. So why would you do this when doing this? It's because there's a good safe Oki technique, and Oki technique is basically pressure upon wake up to apply even more pressure. And again, this works quite a lot. However, this also does get stopped by counters because you're not applying it with anything else. This is when you apply switch tech with it. But I'm just showing you basically another area as to where this would work. Like so. If I turn on the block, I'll show you a more realistic version of it. There we go. As you can see, the moment he blocks, I'm already on this block and comboing it because I am dash cancelling. This is how you safely approach your opponent. It's by doing stuff like this. But yes, if you do need an example, I'm going to show you some examples of fights here. So I'm actually going to stop the whole, like this portion here. I'm going to show you the little compilation of how it is used in fights. And then you'll get a good understanding of how it looks in a match. I hope this tutorial helps. I hope you guys can apply this to your approach and it will allow you guys to approach a lot more aggressively in a safe manner because you want to keep yourself covered and safe with all the leader switching that we can do in Storm. Anyways, as always, it's been your boy Poison Okami. Jeanette.